Hi everyone, my name is Tasha Belfort, and this is Becoming Her Anyways. In this episode, we will be talking about the importance of forgiveness and why it's essential to let go of the past in order to move forwards, right? Forgiveness is obviously quite a valued trait in society, but I feel like it's often presented or used in the wrong way. I feel like a lot of the time it's kind of presented as accepting the wrongdoings of other people and just, moving on and still being friends with that person despite the fact that they've done you wrong. Now, obviously in relationships, forgiveness is an important aspect because obviously people will make mistakes. No one's perfect in a relationship. In every relationship, there'll be something that causes disagreements or whatever. In relationships, in my opinion, forgiveness should only be given if that person has made an actual mistake and it's not a personal characteristic of themselves. This means that it's not a passive behavior, it's a one-off thing, and you have to use your practical wisdom, Greek word for that is called phronesis, in order to distinguish between someone disrespecting you and someone making a mistake. For example, cheating is a form of abuse, right? And cannot be classified as a mistake. However, a genuine misunderstanding between two people can be characterized as a mistake and forgiven, right? However, the actual type of forgiveness that I'm talking about is the forgiveness when someone has deliberately done you wrong and they've disrespected you and walked all of your boundaries, which means that you now have all these emotions and these feelings, and you might have resentment for the way that that person behaved. And obviously that's natural, right? However, it's still important to forgive that person behind closed doors in order to make peace with yourself, right? A saying that I like is anger is just you punishing yourself for what someone else has done to you. For example, say a friend betrays you, right? And you know that this is a personal characteristic of that friend and you no longer would be friends with this person anymore because you're tired of constantly being disrespected by that person. You may now feel like you need to hate that person forever and you need to hold all your anger against them and you need to talk badly about them and you need to make sure that you completely and utterly hate this person, right? Well, here's where you're wrong. If you hold on to these feelings of resentment, you'll never be able to move forwards because your body's going to think that you're still being betrayed over and over and over again because your body can't tell the difference between what's going on now and what's going on in your head. This is because your brain only knows what you tell it. If someone has wronged you, you need to work on forgiving them and realizing that what they did was everything to do with who they are and what they think about themselves as opposed to you as a person. I feel like realizing that that person is at fault and accepting that they are who they are is the best thing that you can do, and realize that it's not about you. The best revenge is that those people are going to go living their miserable lives, having toxic friendships, being very insecure as well. And it's important that you release all these emotions. Obviously, yes, there'll be a period where you feel really annoyed and angry, whatever. But at some point, you have to just let it go and just go, okay, whatever, like that person betrayed me, that person's not a good person, let it go. Don't have any feelings towards them. Have a feeling of neutrality towards them, okay? Because at the end of the day, you don't want them affecting your life and ruining your life. There's actually a TED Talk on a woman whose brother's friend killed both her mother and her brother while this man was trying to rob her house. If you guys want to watch it, her name is Sarah Montana and it's on YouTube. Essentially, she talks about how she initially struggled to even see this man as a real human being because obviously, he did the unforgivable, right? But she talks about how hating him tied her to him. And she really felt this like horrible connection to him because she couldn't forgive him, which is obviously understandable considering the extreme circumstances. However, she still took her time to try to forgive this man, by looking at the prison cell that he was in, saying that it looked so miserable and this is where this man would be spending the rest of his life. And she also wrote him a letter telling him that she didn't care if he was sorry or not. She forgave him because she wanted to move on with her life because she couldn't change what happened. And I think that story is really inspiring because if this woman can move on from the resentment that she felt towards a killer, I think that we can all forgive those who have wronged us and then move on with our lives. Now, I'm definitely not saying after you forgive, you stay in contact with this person. Absolutely not. If someone has wronged you, you cut them off. That's it. They're not going to ever respect you. But what I am saying, it's so important to move forwards and not constantly think about the past. The moral of the story is that if someone's done you wrong, there is nothing that you can do, but you cannot hold on to these feelings of resentment. At the end of the day, every experience is an experience and teaches you something new, despite whether it was bad or good, I feel like one of the most helpful analogies that I usually think of is, for example, say I've just won the lottery, right? So I'm really wealthy, I'm going to buy myself all these houses and everything, I'm super happy, right? And, I'm walking down the street and I bump into someone. Am I going to care? No, I just won the lottery. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm not going to laugh at it and go, haha, whatever, I'm rich, right? However, saying, for example, I'm going through a really rough time, I just went through a breakup, and I bump into someone in the street. I'm more likely to react badly, think, oh my God, why would this happen to me? I'm already going through so much. Oh my God, I hate my life. And I would be more likely to be rude to this person, right? In the same way, you have to look at people's behavior and see how they react because that shows a lot about their mental states. If someone is feeling really happy and content with themselves, they are way less likely to do something horrible to you. Whereas if they're also going through a tough period, they're more likely to subtly take it out on you in horrible ways. I feel like through looking at the world through this lens, you can start seeing who's the confident, happy, secure people and who are the insecure, miserable people that also want you to be miserable. There have been people in my life who have wronged me quite severely to the point where it sent me into quite a bad depression. And it took me quite a while to process this and get over it because obviously it hurt me so deeply. During the time that I was healing, I was very resentful toward these people. But when I finally held them accountable, I released all of my emotions and now I have no hate towards any of them. There was a girl that I really, really, really disliked because she would deliberately try to get emotional reactions out of me by saying the exact wrong thing that she knew that I wouldn't want to hear. Because let me tell you guys, this girl was not stupid, okay, and she was out to get me. She wanted a real reason why she could hate me. And so she really wanted a reaction out of me, and I never gave it to her. Even though I absolutely despise this girl, I never ever gave it to her. And then later down the line, I would hear about how she's going through all these mental health issues and she's struggling and, she's crying and all this kind of stuff. And it really gave me a lesson of how misery loves company. You have to understand that in life, there'll be people who are very threatened by you and feel very insecure because of your own confidence and your own achievements, and they want to minimize those in order to make themselves feel better. You can always tell how someone feels about themselves in the way that they talk about other people. I suppose, again, the moral of the story is that these people are so miserable, and that's why they need to lash out at you to make themselves feel better. And you just need to look at them like they're pathetic. Like they don't know how beautiful life really is. And don't you dare ever sink down to their level, because they'll just look at it as confirmation that you're in competition with them, when instead you need to show them that you guys are not on the same level, because you're a good person who wants to help people and wants to do good things. And this person is all about trying to bring other people down, trying to make people just as miserable and sad as they are. Now, I've forgiven this person. I do not feel any hate towards this person, especially as I haven't been in contact with this person in so long. It's been really amazing. And my life has felt so happy since I have not had to be in contact with this miserable person who also had a very victim mindset. And you would notice that every time they talk about an old friendship group, they were the victim. They were the one that was bullied, excluded. But when you would interact with them, they would do the exact same thing to you that they say other people would do to them. And even worse, honestly. If there is someone in your life that is intent on bringing you down and making you miserable, that person is miserable and you need to stay away from them and don't allow them to make you into a bad person, because the only reason that they're trying to deliberately put you down is because they see something in you that maybe you can't even see yourself. They see you as a threat. They see you, oh, you could be successful, you could be so confident, and they want to ruin that for you because they don't want you to feel better than they are. I've experienced people trying to subtly humble me in a sense and try to kind of compare my attractiveness to other people, and I just shut it down because I was like, I know that you're just doing it out of your own insecurity. I don't care what you think about my appearance, because I like my appearance and I like the way that I look in the mirror, because I generally take care of myself and I know that I can attract the people that I would like to be in my life. But I'm not going to hold resentment to those people because I know that those people are incredibly insecure about the way they look. At the end of the day, it's so important to really have perspective on people's behavior and realize that most of their behavior and what they say is nothing to do with you. It's all to do with them. If someone is insulting you or trying to undermine you or take away your value, that person is threatened by you, because if they weren't, they wouldn't have to do that. So in summary, guys, forgiveness is so important because you cannot punish yourself for what other people do. And if there is someone who is deliberately trying to upset you, you need to forgive them and go, okay, I don't want this person in my life, but I'm not going to hold resentment towards them because obviously they have something going on in their lives that they need to sort out, and it's not my issue. Don't try to understand these people. Just go, okay, you're clearly insecure about something in your life and you need to deal with this. But don't ever take it personally, because these people don't even like themselves. So don't even worry that they can't like you. Guys, thank you so much for listening. My name is Natasha Balfour, and this is Becoming Her Anyways.